Let's talk about the year 1941. It is such a fascinating, almost paradoxical year for the United States. On one hand, you've got Joe DiMaggio hitting home runs, you've got Glenn Miller all over the radio, but on the other hand, the country is secretly gearing up for a massive global conflict that is quite literally going to change everything. And that right there is the big question we're really digging into. What does a country actually look like in those last precious moments of peace? What are people listening to? What movies are they watching? What are they doing right before their entire world gets turned completely upside down? So, okay, let's set the stage. America in 1941 was absolutely a nation on the brink. I mean, officially, we were neutral, but the reality? Oh, it was so much more complicated than that. And to really get it, you have to look at the two main arenas, the two theaters of war, where the U.S. was already getting pulled in, the Atlantic and the Pacific. Just look at this timeline for the Atlantic. You can see exactly how America was sort of quietly sliding into this unofficial war. It all started with money moves, right? Freezing German and Italian assets. Then it got political. The Atlantic Charter was signed, which was basically a pact with Great Britain about what a post-war world should look like. And then, well, it became military. U.S. destroyers actually started guarding British convoys, and that put American sailors directly in the line of fire. So yeah, neutral? Not so much. Now, while all of this was heating up in the Atlantic, tensions with Japan and the Pacific were just hitting a boiling point, and it all just exploded on one single day that changed America forever, December 7th, the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was the shocking, brutal end to America's peace and the undeniable beginning of its full entry into World War II. But before that day, what was life actually like for the average American? It's so easy to just focus on the looming war, but you have to remember, people were still living their lives. They were going to work, falling in love, creating this incredibly vibrant culture. The American Homefront in 1941, it's this fascinating, almost surreal contrast to everything that was brewing overseas. And what's so incredible when you look at this is just how normal and even exciting everything seemed on the surface. You had Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. The whole country was captivated by it. The Yankees won the World Series. Orson Welles was completely changing filmmaking with Citizen Kane. You even see the creation of the USO, which is a nod to the growing military, sure, but it was all framed as supporting troop morale. It was just a thriving, busy cultural scene, a nation just trying to carry on. And the music from 1941, it perfectly captures this feeling. On one side, you have the whole country tapping its feet to the absolute smash hit Glenn Miller's Chattanooga Choo Choo. It's so upbeat. But then you also have the deep, soulful blues of Duke Ellington's I Got It Bad and That Ain't Good. It's that mix, that combination of pure joy and this underlying melancholy. That was the sound of the era. This slide right here, this is the whole contradiction in a nutshell. On one side, you have this very public, very wholesome effort, Victory Gardens, everyday people being told, hey, grow your own food to support the nation. And on the other side, hidden away in total secrecy, the Manhattan Project kicks off, a top-secret mission to build a weapon of unimaginable destruction. It's the perfect example of the public face versus the secret underbelly of what the nation was doing. And even with this massive war looming on the horizon, American society was still moving forward. The Supreme Court made a huge ruling on labor rights, protecting workers with a minimum wage. And these giant infrastructure projects like the Rainbow Bridge at Niagara Falls were actually being finished. It just goes to show that even in a time of incredible uncertainty, life and progress, it just kept marching on. But when the war finally did come to America, it cast a long, very dark shadow. The reaction to Pearl Harbor sparked one of the most painful and unjust chapters in American history, and its consequences were felt right here at home. In that climate of fear and paranoia right after Pearl Harbor, the government issued Executive Order 9066. Now, if you read the language here, it sounds so bureaucratic, almost vague. It just talks about creating military zones. But this seemingly harmless language gave the government the power to do something truly devastating. And what this order led to was the forced internment of over 120,000 people of Japanese descent. And it is so crucial to remember that the vast majority of them were American citizens. An entire community was ripped from their homes, lost their businesses, and was imprisoned, not for any crime they committed, but simply because of their heritage. So, when we look back at 1941, what we're really seeing is a year with a deeply complex legacy. It's a year whose echoes, you could argue, are still being felt today.
It really was a year of staggering contradictions, wasn't it? A nation celebrating a baseball hero while in secret building an atomic bomb. A country that grooved to the genius of Duke Ellington, an African-American icon, while at the same time allowing fear and prejudice to imprison thousands of its own citizens. It was a nation completely united by its culture, but so deeply divided by its fear.
And so, looking back at 1941 really leaves us with this final, lingering question, and it's one that's still so relevant today. How does the vibrancy of our own everyday lives, the sports we watch, the music we listen to, the entertainment we consume, how does it mask the biggest challenges and the greatest dangers that might be brewing just beneath the surface?